When the three of us were all together, yes, we all slept in one bed. Let's be honest. Three people are not always gonna have the same sex drive. There were plenty of times when like partner A did not want to have sex and he's like, I'll just watch. Y'all go ahead. So compersion, it has to do with like the sexual happiness or happiness of your partner. Like I enjoy seeing that for him, and I'm not going to stop him from enjoying that person or said relationship with other people if it brings him joy. Does this person fulfill you? Does this person make you happy when, things don't get hard anymore? And that's how I build all my relationships. A lot of the questions I get in the coaching I do is to teach people how to build bridges to have better sex. Do you guys understand the difference between kinks and fetishes? Kinks are sexual activities that you enjoy. They can help get you off, they help stimulate you, they bring arousal. Fetishes are things that you need for sexual gratification. Like, you need this. This has to happen in order for you to climax. I ask them why they're bottoming. That's the first thing I ask. A lot of people want to bottom to please other people, and that is the worst reason to bottom for somebody. I tell everyone who's bottoming, you are in control. When your sphincter breaks, that's one of the things I learned in fisting. Once that thing snaps, it's done. There's no fixing that. Like, you just have a loose hole for the rest of your life. I help people is how to navigate their sexual journeys and to find what brings them pleasure and how to do that in a holistic and intentional way.
Hi, I'm Azamat.
And I'm Oliver, and we're the founders of Friend of Dorothy.
At today's episode, we're very excited to have Mr. Dominus, a gay sex intimacy coach.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Did I introduce you right?
That is perfectly fine. I am a gay sex and poly coach and advisor. I basically help people learn how to have intimate relationships and be intentional about their sexual experiences. And I'm also a very heavy practicer in polyamorous lifestyle. So my husband and I, we both practice and are in, various relationships. I started this whole thing because dark rooms. It was actually because of darkroom culture is why I started this. I was noticing that a lot of men were getting all of their sexual attention from these anonymous hookups and not having any type of intentionality or connection. And it was just person to person to person, and they weren't experiencing actual different types of sexual experiences. So I started this journey on how to teach people how to have better sex.
I think if we have a right audience for you.
I just want to back up a minute. What do you mean you have multiple partners? When you say multiple, how many are we talking? Like,
So I have my husband. When I started back in my polyamorous journey, it was when I was 21 and I was in a throuple. So my husbands were together. And then I joined them. That lasted for about 5 years. One of my partners passed away. And so it was just the other partner and I, who are now husbands. He dates people on his own. I have people I date. The most I've spoken to at one time was, including my husband, was four. Four at the same time.
Oh my God. And Oliver can't find even one boyfriend.
oh, enough. Yeah, exactly. I can't even keep in touch with four of my friends at a time. Never mind four partners.
You have to think about it from a polyamorous aspect, because a lot of people look at polyamory as just relationships for sexual pleasure. All of my polyamorous relationships that I have with my different partners fulfill me in different ways. Like, no one person is ever going to fulfill you. People have multiple friends for that main reason. You have friends who give you finance advice, you have friends who give you fashion advice. So for me, in my polyamorous journey, I have each of the people who I've decided to have as partners, they all pour into me in different ways. That
They
give me
pour into you.
yes, 100%. In more ways than one. And it's mutually beneficial for each other. So, like, a lot of them don't require a lot of attention. It's not like I have to be in contact with them. Like, some of us, we don't talk for 3-4 days. It's okay.
Dominus, just one step back because it's a very interesting story. So, did your introduction to gay cultures start with polyamory?
So my introduction to polyamory was with my throuple. We were a monogamous practicing throuple. I had met my husband at a gay establishment in Augusta. He was one of the managers there. I met him naked, and
Yep.
I walked up to him. Um, and I was very happy with what I saw. And he informed me that his other partner was not home. He was driving cross country. And so he's like, I'd like you to come back and meet him. So I ended up coming back. At the time, I was in the military. So I was driving every weekend to see these
Hmm.
guys. And we ended up formulating a relationship. And I stayed with them for 5 years. We did a lot together, bought a house together, trips, families, and like you think Christmas is big with your family, my family. Think of his, and mine.
How did that work? So I guess it started when maybe with sexual engagement and you realized you are kind of all compatible. So maybe a little bit more details on evolution of that relationship.
I always knew I was polyamorous. I did not want a monogamous type of relationship. So when I met them, they actually had a boy. And I told them, I'm like, hey, I know you guys, you practice this. I'm looking for something similar, but probably a little more in depth. And I would like to have an emotionally monogamous relationship with you guys, but have sexual fluidity to do what I want with your permission. That's how it started. And they said, give us some time. It took about a week and they got back to me and they said, we agree. And it just kind of evolved from that into what we wanted it to be. But it did not start with, well, yes, it started off sexually, very sexual in the beginning. But in totality, it wasn't actually extremely sexual because my husband that passed away, he was very educated, very smart. But he was very big on interpersonal connections with people. So even though he found me attractive and he found my intelligence attractive, he really wanted to get to know me before we explored any type of sexual interest together. So he made me wait. I'm not gonna lie. He made me wait. The other partner who I'm currently married to, he was a little bit more sexually forward. It was 3 weekends before we actually had sex together. I was coming back and spending time with them, and then the third weekend was the weekend where we all sealed the deal sexually. And then from there, it was more. It was very relationship oriented. It was my first. I'm still in that relationship. It was my very first relationship. I never had boyfriends or multiple exes.
Question, which is a bit more maybe technical. So, how do you communicate in terms of even WhatsApp messages? Do you have like a group or you talk to each other separately? How does that work?
When it was the three of us, it was a group chat. I'm very submissive because everyone looks at my Instagram and they think I'm this super dom guy.
Mhm.
Um, but in relationships, I tend to take a more submissive role.
I don't fancy you anymore. I'm going. Goodbye. I'm joking.
Oliver left the chat.
But like
Bye.
in my everyday life, I am very dominant. So in that relationship with the three of them when we were all together, Ed, the oldest one, he took more of a leadership role. He was the daddy, as you would say. We all communicated. And the thing that I loved about that relationship was that a lot of people, they look at polydynamics or they look at throuple dynamics and everyone's like, who's in charge? And like nobody's in charge really. Like we all had an equal say in what happened. There was no it's my way or the highway. We had a leader who was, our oldest husband. He would lead because we let him lead, but he always took in consideration what we wanted. It was never I'm having spaghetti today and that's it and you're gonna eat it. It's like, I would like to have spaghetti. What do you guys want? And we'd all give input and then we'd all make a collective decision. We were all equal.
How does it work in terms of setting up sex? It's like
Mhm.
either it's always three of us, or then if I have with partner A, then I need to compensate with partner B so he doesn't feel left out. Like, how does all dynamic work so everyone feels happy and not left out?
This sounds so bad, but it's really getting where you fit in. Let's be honest. Three people are not always gonna have the same sex drive, right? I was at the time when I met them. I'm some 22-year-old. I'm young, dumb, full of cum. I just want to have sex all day. Our drives are a little different. When I say get in where you fit in, it was more like if you're in the mood, we can do it. There were plenty of times when like partner A did not want to have sex, and he's like, "I'll just watch. Y'all go ahead." There were times when all three of us had sex. There were times when One person would leave early for work and two of us would end up fooling around that morning. But it was never like we were waiting for someone to leave. It was just like, if you're in the mood, do it.
My question, probably the lamest question ever. Where are you all sleeping and who's cuddling who?
So
How does it
yes, we
all
all
work?
slept. So when the three of us were all together, yes, we all slept in one bed. I was always in the middle, and I wanted to be in the middle. It was a security thing for me. But come winter, the oldest one of us, he was always in the middle because he hated the cold. So like that was the rule. Like come wintertime, Daddy was in the middle. My other partner and I, we were on the edges. And then in like the warmer times of the year, I would be in the middle. Um, and then
So it's very
they would be.
practical.
Yes, everyone kind of knew their spot. There was never a like, oh, I'm mad at you. I'm gonna go sleep in another. Like we slept in the same bed every single night we were together.
Nice. I have a few questions about polyamory in general. Is it common that there is a gay couple that live together for a while now and they want to maybe try something new and spice up their sex life? And for some people, it's opening up relationship, so everyone is hooking up with whoever they want, but they come back home to each other. And for some, they want more than that. They're open to invite someone third to build together a relationship. Is that how it all works typically?
In aspects of starting polyamorous relationships,
Yes.
no, they don't always start that way. When I tell people when you think about polyamorous relationships, I take sex out of the equation in the beginning
Hmm.
because my goal is to form a bond with you, is to have a connection with you that supersedes sexual activity. Gay men, our generation just thinks with their smaller head, and that's how they move forward all the time.
Hmm.
Everything begins with sex. So for all of my poly partners, they never started with sex. It was always about the relationship I had with this person, which started out as a friendship. And then from there, I realized I want more. What are you open to? And then that discussion starts. And so that's how my journey outside of polyamory. So when our partner passed away, it was my husband and I, and we had to figure out like, do we want to continue the poly life? Do you want to be monogamous? How do you want to move forward? And we realized that we still wanted to continue that polyamorous journey, whether it be together, separate, or as a throuple. You have many different aspects of polyamory. What I love about it, there's no rule book. Monogamy has a rule book that is based on society that people like to adhere to, which they shouldn't. If you are in a monogamous relationship, it should be whatever you and your partner decide it to be. But outside factors tell us what they should look like.
Hmm.
There's not many forms of what polyamory should look like. And so the beautiful thing about it is it can be whatever you want it to be. My biggest thing when I tell people when they enter in these relationships is to have boundaries and respect your partner if you have an anchor partner.
Hmm.
If you're single, your polyamorous journey can be whatever you want it to be. I know plenty of practicing polyamorous people. Um, and the people that they meet pour into them in different ways, and they have their agreements on how they conceptualize their relationships. It's funny, I saw somebody, they said polyamory is for people who have scheduling kinks because it is a hard time. It really is. Like
Yeah.
making sure I spend enough time with my husband, making sure I spend enough time with, ex-boyfriend, make sure he has enough time for his boyfriend. Have you ever heard of the definition of the word compersion?
No,
Compersion.
I don't think
No.
so.
Yes. So compersion, it has to do with like the sexual happiness or happiness of your partner. Like I enjoy seeing that for him. So it's not a lot of people are just like, well, if he has you, why does he need him? Well, I'm like, my husband likes chicken, but he also likes to eat steak. And I know it's people are not food, but we all have different things that we like. We all have different things that we like to partake in. And I'm not going to stop him from enjoying that person or said relationship with other people if it brings him joy. We are pack animals. We all thrive when we are with other people.
Hmm.
Um, but monogamy tells us that you should only have one. I tell people the best example I give people who are monogamous practicing is look at parents who have 4 or 5 kids. And you can't tell me that you don't love each of those kids in different ways. Yes, a parent is not going to have a sexual relationship with their child, but they give each of those kids different types of love. They have the ability to love every single one of those kids in the way that they need to be loved. And each of
Hmm.
those kids get love from their siblings, and then each of those kids get love from their parents, right?
Hmm.
With polyamorous relationships, we just choose to take it a step further And sex is not always, this is the biggest misconception. People think that all polyamorous relationships are built on sex. I have had partners in polyamorous relationships where we didn't have sex at all, but the relationship is what I wanted. And the time I spent with that person was so meaningful. It's just, how does that person make you feel? Are you willing to go a step further? And where are your boundaries with that relationship and that person?
Makes sense. Can I ask you, you said about an anchor partner.
Yes.
So an anchor partner, I assume, is, for example, myself and my partner decide we're going to be poly. We're together, maybe we live in a house together, etc. And then I'm going off and being poly with other people rather than the three of us being poly. Is that how an anchor partner works?
Your anchor partner is the partner that you choose to live your life with.
Okay.
So that's my husband, the person I
That's the anchor
legally. If something happens to me, he owns my properties, he has access to my bank accounts. Like, that's the person who gets the last say in anything that happens with me. I live with this partner. I do everyday things with this partner. If my other relationships fail, me and this partner are still together.
Okay.
Nothing is superseding my relationship with this person.
Makes sense. So you would have your partners. So you've got your anchor partner. For example, if you use your current setup now, you have your anchor partner, and then you have your partner, he has his partners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is that one type of poly, and then the other type of poly would be where you had joint partners?
Yes. So, poly usually, it just means more than one. Everyone's is different. So, like, I know we're used to throuple, right? That is one dynamic of polyamory. And I've met plenty. I remember when I was starting my relationship with my husband after our partner died, and we were trying to figure out what we wanted. And we weren't sure if we wanted a monogamous throuple or if we wanted a open throuple, or if we wanted to date separately, or if we wanted to date together. And we decided that all of those options were open to us, because it's like being on Scruff. You start putting all the filters, right? And then you realize, like, you can't find anybody. The fish in the sea start to just get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller as you
You're
add
left
all
with the
these, like,
tadpoles.
yes, like, it just, like, this plethora of men that you think you have access to, you don't. Because then you have to think of, like, okay, you have the type of person in your mind that you want, then you have your ideal body looks, then you have your moral standards that you want this person to
Then
have.
top or bottom.
You have all these. I have a type. Don't get me wrong. I have a physical type that catches my eye versus others. That won't change. But I don't limit myself to the type of poly I could live, because I want the best relationships with anyone possible. So whether that is just with me, or whether that is with my husband and we do it together, the point is to have as much love as possible in our relationship, and to fulfill our lives.
Dominus, you mentioned earlier that polyamory doesn't have to be sexual, but then what is the difference between that and just having a friend?
So this is the thing, intimacy, right? Which is what I teach on my page. The ability to be intimate with somebody without being sexual is very important, which a lot of relationships do not have. Um, like, one of the things that I like to do with my partner is I pick one thing, every 1 or 2 weeks, we like to pick something that I do with him, that he is passionate about, or something that he likes. And I don't ask a lot of questions, and I just partake in that space with him. When it comes to those poly partners that I don't have sex with, sometimes it's due to either their actual physical capability to have sex. Sometimes it's due to the fact that I don't have the time to prepare for sex. It's not that the sexual desire is there, it's just not as important as the actual relationship is between the two of us. But the intimacy that we do build within our relationship is very fulfilling, to the point where penetration is not needed. So one of those partners that I did have, him and I spent a lot of time together. I loved him dearly, met his family, met his kids, and we spent so much time together. And the intimacy and how he knew me and how we bonded was greater than the need to have sex. When we did have sex, in the few times that we did, it was amazing. It was really great. But it wasn't the most important thing. Now, I've had other relationships where, like, we're fucking like animals. But those relationships feed different parts of me. Not necessarily that they're built on sex, but just the libido of those other partners were a lot higher than others. And so Sex is a byproduct of a relationship that is meant to bring you guys closer. It should not be the glue to your relationship, which in most gay relationships, that's what keeps people together. Well, he's got 9 inches, or he can do A, B, and C, and I don't want to give this up. But there's gonna come a point in time when y'all can't have sex anymore. And it's like, do you like being with this person? Does this person fulfill you? Does this person make you happy when, things don't get hard anymore? And that's how I build all my relationships. Whatever type of relationship it is, it's how can I bond with this person and the importance that they have in my life.
So I guess in most of the relationships, sex fades away at some point. What do you teach your followers on how they should proceed after?
Everyone's going to get to a point, like you said, where sex isn't there, but intimacy will be there till the day you die.
Mhm.
And the ability to maintain and perform intimacy with your partner is, I think, what keeps a lot of things alive. Understanding how your partner feels love, right? So you have your 5 different love languages. The common thing that I've noticed in a lot of relationships and people that I talk to is they don't know how to love people the way that they want to be loved. A lot of times we love people the way we want to be loved, right? So, like, if my love language is words of affirmation and gift giving, I'm going to give you those things because that's how I receive love. But when I understand how my partner wants to be loved and I can show them that I see how you want to be loved and I can perform this for you, that partner will feel love and that will build intimacy in those small little things that you do. So after the sex dies is maintaining intimacy, maintaining the ability to know how to love your partner and how they want to be loved and still building that relationship is what keeps you together.
And how would you define intimacy? What does that mean to you?
Um, Intimacy to me, it is a mental, sometimes sexual, and a stimulated closeness that I build with a partner. And it's something that's special between the two of us that keeps us close. But for me, it's the ability of how I maintain love and keep a closeness with said partner.
Mhm. Dominus, you mentioned that, I guess from your following on social media, that you coach people. What do you coach on?
So the polyamorous thing, I don't do a lot of coaching on. I do some. I get more questions on sexual activity. So like how to clean out properly, or hey, my partner and I want to try X kink. Like I had one guy message me and he's like, I'm really into puppy play, but my partner has like verbally said some things without him stating his interest in it that he's like, I don't like this at all. And the partner messaged me. He's like, how do I bring this to my partner? How do I
Mhm.
let my partner know that I'm interested in said thing? Um, because my page is very kink heavy and I take the opportunity to go and explore a lot of kinks and I film them. A lot of the questions I get in the coaching I do is to teach people how to build bridges to have better sex. Um, I think the last thing that I got a lot of questions on was I did a saline injection into my scrotum, and that got a lot of attention. And I basically kind of did like a step-by-step guide, and I taught people how to do this safely and properly if you are into said
You're
kink.
going to need to back up. Hold on. What? Sorry. You put a saline injection into your scrotum.
hmm
Okay. And why?
So everyone has, their different kinks out there. You have people who are into very large body modifications, right? So a common thing that I don't know if you guys have seen in the gay community is men that do silicone injections into their penile area, right? So they'll do it into around. It's a thing. It's a huge thing. It's
You're
actually
making
quite.
this up. How have I not seen this? Into
You've
their
never seen this?
no, and I
I
watch
have.
more porn than most. As Azamat said at the beginning, I'm like the most single person ever. So how have I not seen this?
I will send you a link when this is
Please
done.
do. And I
Um,
have a million questions. Does it hurt?
um, so if it's done right, no. I have never done a silicone injection. I did saline. The silicone injection community in DC is actually quite large. I met a lot of local men who have done these body modifications, and basically they're just attracted to things that are bigger, right?
Just to educate us, both Oliver and me, and I guess a lot of our listeners, silicone injection, what does it mean? What does it do?
So silicone, like what your toys are made of, your sexual pleasure
Yep,
toys.
yep.
So it is a gel-like form that they take and they inject into the open areas of the scrotum and around the penile structure to make it bigger. So you have certain forms that are put into the scrotum that it's more gel-like, that don't harden as hard. Then you have a different formula that is used around the penile structure that so that when you have an erection, it is hard as well. They do these body modifications to achieve bigger genitalia, so that way when you do have sex, it's more pleasure for them and the person that they're having sex with. The difference between saline and silicone. Silicone, it is not FDA approved. I have not done it. I know people who have, but if it gets into your bloodstream, it can kill you. If the silicone gets into the capillaries in your lungs, you will die. There are steps to take so that way that doesn't happen, but it is a risk that you take. I don't know if you guys remember, there was this like gay group of like silicone guys that lived, I think, out in California or whatnot, but one of them died and was this big thing on the news in the US. And it was from silicone. He was injecting too much and it got into his bloodstream and it killed him.
Just to clarify, so when it's silicone, do you go to some doctor who is doing that, or mostly in the culture, gays are doing that to themselves?
A lot of the gays are doing it to themselves. Some
Oh
of
my
them,
God.
it is not practiced anywhere in the US. So a lot of the ones that I know, they go to doctors in other countries that will perform the procedure on them, but it's not something that you can legally get done in the US. No.
Uh-huh. And how
Um,
long does it last?
Silicone lasts forever. It will stay in you until you die,
Okay.
or it develops medical complications.
Oh
One or
God.
the other.
Okay.
So it's one of those till death do us part, or it takes you out first. But with silicone, there's a guy at my gym. I'm telling you, he has a cantaloupe-sized cock. It's gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
And he walks around with it in the gym, and that's what he likes to do. Um, I know one guy. He compared his. It's about the size of like 3 Red Bull cans put together.
Um,
It's gigantic.
And the
Um,
worst thing is, I think your Red Bull cans in America are bigger than the ones we get here. Like here, they're quite dainty. So I'm like, 3 Red Bull cans is a good Saturday night out. But there,
yeah.
I'm like, bloody hell, it's the size of a toddler.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Literally, a toddler's head.
And people are doing it because it feels better for them having sex and also for their partner having sex, yes?
Yes.
But
Now that's silicone.
because when you are at the gym and you want to, I don't know, you're just getting changed, you want to make sure that you look probably big. It's kind of nice feeling, I assume.
Oh yeah, 100%. And
Mm.
especially like in those gay spaces like bars and those gay events, it's an eye opener. It's a conversation starter literally because it's the
Yeah.
first thing you see.
I mean, I'm not being funny. If I got into bed with someone like that, I'd get back out. I'd be like, I'm going home. Forget
Oh,
this.
100%. Like, so the guys that I know that do it here, some of them, they do it to a modified sense where, it's still enjoyable and they can still enter somebody. But then I know guys who have it and they have to fist you to get in you. There is no just
Wow.
starting out. They have to, the one guy I know that does it here, he has to fist you open. And once
Mm.
he's gotten his fist in you, he can then, stick himself in you. But it takes time. A lot of his play dates are planned.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but saline dissipates and reabsorbs into your body because saline is water soluble. It's so when you do the injection with saline, your genitals will grow, and then within 24 to 72 hours, it just absorbs right back into your body. There's no harm with saline at all.
Right.
And how does it feel?
Now, saline does not feel like silicone. You're not going to have any hardness. It's more aesthetic. So you're not going to really be able to maintain a very hard erection like you would be with silicone. With saline, you just everything just enlarges and it will then just reabsorb into your body. So when I did it, I did 800 milliliters when I did it. So it was about the size of a large grapefruit.
So, what? Why? I understand. Obviously, the first one with the silicone, I get
Hmm.
it. Okay, especially if it's going to stay hard and so on. I don't get it, but I do get it.
Yeah.
But if it's just going to be soft,
No, it's not. It doesn't feel mushy. It's very plump. It's firm, but
plump.
it's just big. So like, have you ever wanted to feel like what it'd be like to have some ginormous balls? Like it's more of feeling that sensation. So you feel like this weight pulling in between your legs. Um, if you're having penetrative sex as the receiver, you get to feel that big thing flop against him and you. It is a very stimulating feeling, and because the skin is being stretched, it's now sensitive to touch, and there's
Mm,
an arousal feel that comes with that as well.
Okay, so
makes
you're
sense.
getting the feelings in a different way to what you
Yes.
normally would. Okay, makes
Hmm.
sense. Okay,
This is not
interesting.
something I do every day. I had an interest in it. I tried it. Um, it's very technical, and it's one of those kinks that you have to be sterile. And if you aren't, it can send you to the hospital. And so I did it with somebody who I know has been doing it for years. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not something that I feel like I can do myself. Would I do it again? Yes, I would. And I guess, do you guys understand the difference between kinks and fetishes?
No,
So, sailing would be my kink. So kinks are things that, and that's one of the things I talk about on my page because people don't know the difference. Kinks are sexual activities that you enjoy. They can help get you off. They help stimulate you. They bring arousal. Fetishes are things that you need for sexual gratification. Like you need this. This has to happen in order for you to climax. So those are
Okay.
your fetishes, those are your kinks. So sailing would be a kink for me. I don't need it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. If I did it, it would bring arousal. But it's a kink that I have developed that I do enjoy. Like let's do something simple, toe sucking, right? People who like having their toes sucked on. That- That's a kink. Like if you don't suck my toes today, I'm gonna be okay. Like it's fine. If you do, I'm gonna love it. But then you have people who are another common kink. I know somebody whose kink is leather. Like he will not have sex unless he is wearing leather.
got it. Makes sense.
That is his fetish. He will not get off. He will not have sex naked. There is some type of leather on him at all times.
So I have a question that we have to ask. It's not for us; it's for the person who edits our podcast. Pup play and
Pup play, yeah.
sex. Yeah.
I just
Okay.
did an
Now we have an
episode about pup
expert.
play. I'm
Now we
not
have
an
a.
expert on pup play because I had
What,
so many questions when I did it. But I will answer them to the best of my ability. Go ahead.
our editor just edited one of our last podcasts on pup play and was like, I still don't understand how they have sex. Um,
What does she not understand?
I think I'll explain the question because I
Hmm.
interviewed the previous podcast with two pups, and when they are in the hood, it's like you can be another person. You can maybe be more kinky. You can be more open-minded, and also the gear can be sexual, right? Um, and and I guess my question was here where I was a little bit confused. If you are a pup, right, and you're wearing the pup hood, is it
Hmm.
how is that sexual to you? Like, is it more on the border of like it would sound very weird. Like, do you like dogs? It's like I'm a little bit confused here.
Um. Okay, so I had a episode that I just did. It was my second episode of my podcast, and we had a pup because I never understood pup play. I had a very negative point of view of pup play. I decided it was important for me to understand. Like, I like to understand sex. Sex is very mental. Sex is more mental than actually is physical. So I decided to talk to some pups because I wanted to understand. Somebody mentioned to me, like, is this a form of bestiality? No, I don't think so. Um, I think it is a very expressive place for them to play, and to just kind of be themselves. Now, if you really want to get into it, pup play is a form of polyamory because they have a very distinctive way of how they organize their families and their packs. So, like he told me, like you have a handler. The handler is in charge of all these pups, and a handler may have 10 pups, or a handler may have anywhere from 2 to 1 to, I've seen up to 12 pups in a pack. Then you have your alpha, who is in charge of all the pups, and then you have your omegas and your deltas, and then they kind of go down the line on the order of how they interact with each other. But they are a family-based unit. So I was asking him, I'm like, so when you guys go out, like, how does it work? Is there a group chat? Like, do you got all the pups get together? He said it's the same thing. They all communicate. It's a very family-based thing on how they organize. To answer your question on how they have sex, I think to me, and I could be wrong, and because I'm not a pup and it does not sexually arouse me, what I get from it is the ability to let go. So it was the ability to be in that headspace wherein I have a handler, I can just be as free as a dog, literally, and just do whatever the hell I want. Um, I can run around all fours, just be playful, be happy, and do what I want, and I don't have to worry about anything. And I think that that sense of freeness is what's very exciting to them. Um, Now, in actuality of sexual intercourse, it's just like how any of us do it, and they love doggy style.
Okay,
Okay.
fair.
um, they absolutely love doggy style. I never realized. Have you ever heard of a puppy mosh pit? Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
I never understood what that was. But it's literally daycare for pups. Like MAO had a conference room, like where it was this giant, like white gate, and they pups came there, they dropped them off, and all these pups are wrestling, play fighting, rolling around on all fours. And I said, what's the point of that? And he was like, it just gets you stimulated and it puts you in this place to just kind of let go and you get to sniff the other pups and if you're into masculania, which is the arousal from like pit smells, it allows you to just be in that space and to just sniff different things, have your senses stimulated in ways that you wouldn't by yourself. And then he was telling me usually after a pup mosh pit, they usually go have a ton of sex.
Okay.
um and so it's just kind of a place to just kind of get you in the mood just to go do what you want. But their sex is just as simple as ours. Sometimes they just have more orgies than we typically do because you're
Yeah.
including 5 or 6 pups at a time sometimes. And the handlers, because it's funny. My husband actually was talking to me about this. He's very interested in pup play, and he was interested in being a handler, because he likes how pups act when they're very submissive and they're very reliant on the handler, and the handler controls things, and he liked that aspect of it. So to your editor, their sex is just like ours. The only thing is they may have to take that pin out their ass, the tail out their ass before they actually do it. I think the most questionable thing to me was how y'all breathe in these masks. They're tight. But the pup part, like it clips on and off, so they can use their mouths as they need fit.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess if it clips off, it's just sort of like a leather mask.
You have different types. So like the part that extends has clips on the side, and you just pull the clip off, and then their mouth is exposed. They can drink water. They can do whatever they need to do, and it goes like that.
Amazing. Well, now I know.
I think you've mentioned that very often your followers ask you in your DMs tips for bottoming.
Don't do it. It hurts. I'm joking.
I ask them why they're bottoming. That's the first thing I ask. A lot of people want to bottom to please other people, and that is the worst reason to bottom for somebody. I know some people they bottom because their partners want it and they are not necessarily into it, but they want to do it to bring in some type of intimacy or type of closeness with their partner they haven't tried. So I always tell them, make sure you're doing this for the right reasons. If you aren't used to bottoming, I always tell people, start out with toys. The absolute first thing I tell people is your diet. It is so important when it comes to bottoming. I have gone from places where it's taken me hours to minutes, and it all depends on my diet. A high fiber diet very much helps with the ability to clean out for bottoming. So I actually had a pediatrician send me a form that explained how to properly clean out. So you know how you have the opening to your anal gland, which is your sphincter, and then you have the actual anal cavity. So like whenever time you feel like you need to defecate, that's because that is full.
Yep.
And that's your body telling you the senses that, hey, it's time to push and get
Yeah.
this out of here. Above the anal cavity is opening to your large and your small intestines. And a lot of people they end up cleaning out more than they need to.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't understand that like you don't need to clean that far. Like the anal cavity is all you need. And so a lot of people like to use pressurized douches from their hoses in their bathrooms, and those can cause a lot of problems. So understanding how your gut health operates, understanding how your diet operates, and understanding how to properly clean out is the essentials of bottoming. Once you understand those, it is really understanding how to listen to your partner. Um, and always understand, I tell everyone who's bottoming, you are in control. Okay? The top is not the one who's in control here. No one should be coming in here and just taking what they want from you. So as you enter this journey, understand as the receiving person, you control sex. I never tell people to just start with having anal sex in the beginning, unless you're a pro. If you're just starting out, I always tell people, what do you call those things? What do you call them? Butt plugs. They go a long way. They really do help with easing, how things enter and come out of you. But I always tell people, in order to get relaxed, you can start that way. I always tell people, do not use the numbing cream. That is the worst advice. Like, never use that shit ever. Do you guys know why?
No. But I
So
don't think it's something we do here in the UK. I mean, it might be. I don't know. I've
so
learned a lot today, so it could be.
there is a numbing cream and it's strawberry flavored. A lot of people like to use it so that way they don't feel the pain. Your sphincter and the opening to your anal cavity, they're muscles. When your sphincter breaks, that's one of the things I learned in fisting. Once that thing snaps, it's done. There's no fixing that. Like you would just have a loose hole for the rest of your life. When you numb that area, you desensitize it to pain. Pain is important in how you feel things when you are having intercourse with your anal cavity. So the ability to understand that this hurts is important. So I always tell people, do not use numbing creams because you'll numb something and think you're fine, and then you have somebody with a Coke can come into you, and then it hurts to shit for the next 3 weeks, and you're wondering why. From there, I tell them lube is your friend. I explain to them there are plenty of different lubes. You have water-based lube, you have silicone-based lubes, you have some oil-based lubes. I tell people for anal sex, I think silicone is the best. It stays slickest the longest. If you're using toys, I use water-based because it's easiest to clean. But you find the lube that works for you, that works with your body. Then from there, you start with the penetrative act. Make sure you are aroused. Make sure you are comfortable. Um, I always tell people that whatever brings you sexual pleasure, do that while you're being entered. So that way your body can relax and don't so much think about the process of being entered, but more about enjoying the experience with the person. Once that person has entered you, I always tell them, relax. That is not the time, once you're in, is not the time to go to Pound Town. Allow your anal cavity to adjust to the size of the person depending on their girth and their length. And then from there, once you feel warmed up, let the locomotive start. And you
I
control
love it.
how hard, fast, slow they go.
Dominus, you
Love it. Very
mentioned that
good.
maybe putting a hose from up your ass is not the best idea when douching. But then, what's the alternative? What's the right way to do it?
It's not that it's not the best idea, it's one that can misuse the easiest. Typically, what you want to do is the average anal cavity. If you do a decently sized pace of water that is spurring out 3 to 5 seconds, is what I tell everybody. Even if you're using a bulb or if you're using any type of spray, 3 to 5 seconds. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. The most is five. You time your body to see how long it takes. People will hold a hose up their ass for like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never done it. Never done it. No idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
In case my
And
mum
like
is watching.
so now like you're passing the anal cavity, you're going into your intestines, and then when you're wondering why the water won't run clear is because you clean farther than you actually need to. Um Hoses cause that problem if you don't know how to use them. Now, if you do not have access to a pressurized hose that is hooked up to a water faucet, bulbs are perfect. There's nothing wrong with using a bulb or a fleet enema, any of those type of things that are going to clean out the anal cavity. And that's all anal sex is the anal cavity. How you clean out depends on the person who's having sex with you, right? So in the US we have a term called husband dick. Husband dick is comfortable. It is reliable dick, right? Yes, it's comfortable. Like it's not, boring you out. You're not gaped open at the end of it. Like it's good, right?
Okay.
Um, then you have other types of dick that you can take. So the average anal cavity is anywhere from like 4 to at most maybe 6 or 7 inches. And the average penile size in the US, I think, is 5.25 inches.
Mm.
The average person in the US is not going past the second opening that leads into the large intestines, right? So you cleaning out the anal cavity is more than enough. For your 8, 9, and 10 inchers, they might be going through a different portal. You might have to clean out deeper for that. Some people are going to reach further spaces than others. So your process of cleaning out, that's why it's important to get the dick pic. um, to know what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Because like for me, like when I've gone to orgies, you don't know what you're gonna get. I do a very intense clean for an orgy because
Mm.
you don't know who's packing what. For someone who I know, I know how to clean out for it. I'm prepared for it. But when you don't know what you're gonna get, I do a deeper clean. But I'm not going to orgies every day.
Straight men have it so frigging easy
Oh yes, they do.
compared
100%.
to anyone else. Women have to still make a lot of effort for sex. Women and gay men put so much effort into sex. Straight men, they just rock up in yesterday's boxer shorts.
Well, it depends on your diet because, like, so me, like, right, I'm training for this bodybuilding competition I'm doing. So my diet consists mainly chicken, rice, protein powder, and egg whites. So like, because I'm eating primarily protein, my body's consuming majority of it. I don't have much to waste. I have had more spontaneous sex in the last 3 months with my husband than I have in my life. Because of my diet, I'm prepared majority at all times. I tell guys who are primarily bottoms, like, hey, if you want to have spontaneous sex, and to be able to, be clean majority of the time, your diet is very important. You
Mhm.
can't go to brunch and go eat chili and waffles, or whatever you want to eat and expect to bottom after that. I also tell people this, Imodium is not the answer. It is not. People believe in that. Gay
Yeah.
culture
No,
has
people
really.
don't. People take Imodium instead of douching.
Yes, I saw this one content creator. He said it took 6 to 7 Imodium, didn't eat for an entire weekend, and fucked all weekend.
Mm.
And I'm like, that's not healthy at all. It's not healthy. Somebody explained to me, and I don't know if this is true, but he's like, Imodium is for like those. He's coming over, and you don't have time to finish cleaning out, and you can pop this if you really want to go. Um, I'm the type of guy where I'm just gonna be like, look, give me an hour. I need more time. I would rather be properly prepared than to pop an Imodium. It's not the best thing for you. It works, but it should not be your go-to in a time of need. Is what I tell people.
So we'll be wrapping up. The time flies, but we have such an interesting, hot conversation, and I feel like, Dominus, we're just scratching the surface of all of the tips and insights that we get from you. So I just really feel like we need a part 2 of this podcast.
Of course, you let me know. I'll come back on.
My question is, so for all of our listeners, how can they find you, and how can you help them?
So my Instagram is Mr. Mr. Dominus Dominus_DC. That is my Instagram handle. I provide with people is helping them have intimate connections with their partners and how to step into a community that is very kink based and fetish based, and to find things that you can do either by yourself or with other people, but have intention around that whole subject. There are so many different avenues on how to have great sexual connections. And believe it or not, all of those do not include climaxes. Um, the relationships that you build with people and the sexual relationships that you have with people are very important. And basically, from my page, what I help people is how to navigate their sexual journeys and to find what brings them pleasure and how to do that in a holistic and intentional way.
So they can reach out to you and have a one-on-one conversation to ask all of their questions and get all of your guidance, tips, and insights.
Yes, sir.
Brilliant. Awesome.
Oh, sir, excuse me. Do you still want to get a room?
Dominus, thank you so much. That was absolutely brilliant.
Honestly, super educational. Like, I've learned stuff. I'm going home to like make some notes on how I'm going to douche as of next week. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on. And we would love to have you back another time because I still have like 1 billion questions I want to ask now.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys. And I love your products, by the way. I actually had one person, I did a conversation with him. He messaged me last week and he's like, do the cum gummies work? And I said, yes, they absolutely work. And he's like, I don't believe it. I said, dude, buy it. If it doesn't work, I will send you the money back. I promise. I have that much confidence in their ability to work. He sends me a text message. He's like, dude, those gummies. I said, yeah, did you flood somebody's throat? He's like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. He's like, you were not lying. Like, I stand by your products. They're super great. You guys are not a hoax. I don't support anything I don't believe in. I don't care how much you pay me. Like, I have to believe in your product. And your guys are super great. Cum gummies are my favorite. I was skeptical about the raspberry gummies, but I think they're better than the pineapple ones. I'm a Caribbean boy, love pineapple. I'm like, nothing's gonna top pineapple. Raspberry? I was like, okay. Raspberry
I
flavor
want to
is
do a lime gummy, but Azamat's like, no one's going
really.
to do it. And I'm like, I would love a lime gummy.
Oh, key lime pie is my favorite, so I would definitely buy it. I love tart flavored things.
Dominus, absolute pleasure. I genuinely would love to have you back on again because there's
Absolutely.
other stuff and so on.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.